much faith.
Hi, my name's Gary Pratt, and this is my wife Debbie, and this is our story about our personal Jesus.
I was working at Old Phoenix National Bank in Wadsworth, and I was a teller. And this girl that worked next to me, this woman, had this piece about her that I just didn't know what it was. And she would make little comments, and, say something like, something out of the Bible or whatever, I don't even remember. And one day, in the meantime, this minister kept coming into the bank. And he made me very nervous. He had these piercing blue eyes. And one day I just blurted out to him, God plays games, see who wins and who loses, Because I was raised Catholic and I didn't really pay attention in catechism and all that stuff, And just my parents made me go to church and that kind of stuff, and scooted out of service, when we had communion, and never really grasped the whole God thing, And so one day when I said that to him, he says, why don't you come see me? And I thought, okay. So it was Wednesday afternoon, we got done at noon, and I thought, well, that morning I fought with myself. I now know who it was. But I kept fighting with myself. You're going, you're not. You're going, you're not going, go. Back and forth. So finally I went, and he asked me to pray. And I said, I don't know how to pray. And he says, well, let's just say this. And there was a prayer of salvation. And, he's talking about the bridge from, this world and to heaven. And Jesus was the bridge. And I just got this deep welling inside of me, just started to cry. This overwhelming cry. And I got done. And I walked out of there. And the only way I can explain it is back in the old days, I call it, when we watched Walt Disney, it would be in black and white. And when the book would open up, it would be in color. Well, that's how it felt like when I walked outside for the first time. It was like I saw the earth for the first time, and in the way God's eyes saw it, he saw it. And then from that on, I was like, I had this nice peace about me. I mean, I was just like on cloud nine. I wanted to tell everybody, but in the back of my mind, somebody here said, don't tell. And I'm thinking, no, I got to tell my girlfriend, don't tell. And so then then that went away.
She got sick. All right. Lost a baby in '86. She went full term and then stillborn.
And the year before that.
And then had an ectopic before that.
It burst and almost died from that.
About lost her there.
And
then she got with the dermatomyositis, which I kept telling her it was in her head when she couldn't get up out of bed. And it's a muscle disease where her muscles deteriorate. She has literally no strength at all.
And for 4 years, they couldn't diagnose me.
Just didn't know what it was, and nobody could figure it out. I mean, she couldn't get out of the bathtub. She still can't, from a laying position, can't lift her head straight up.
I can't get up.
And with that, she's got that in the scleroderma. All right, and the scleroderma is a thickening of connective tissues. All right.
Cuts off the blood flow from the organs.
All right. So, and that's what affected her kidneys when her kidneys failed. There was no warning. She got sick. We went to the hospital. The doctor looked at us and said, your kidneys are gone. We have to start on dialysis.
And I'm thinking to myself,
and
I want the kidney now. I want a kidney now because I feel like I'm going to die because I felt so horrible. I never felt so bad in my life. All these toxins were built up in me, and I felt like it was just sick. I can't even explain the sickness.
So, I mean, she went in the hospital. They started her on dialysis the next day. Dialysis, Ron, who I'll tell you about later, is right. I mean, it's the most barbaric thing in the world. They stick a big needle in your arm, drain all your tube in your arm, drain all your blood out, and put it all back. End of August, we got a call that they had found a paired match. All right. And you weren't allowed to know who it was. They were just anonymous people. So we started going through tests in September and October. Middle of October, there was a big hitch and a big stop. All right, they found a spot on one of my ribs, and there was something with the other couple, and they couldn't tell us what it was. So this spot on my ribs, it was like, we can do one of two things. If there was an x-ray someplace, which I doubt if there was, or we have to do a biopsy, which is cut it open and take part of the rib out and see what it is. So backtrack a little bit, in 97 and 98, I was in the hospital twice. They said I had a heart attack, and they had done chest x-rays. Well, I went back to those, and I didn't have a heart attack, it was a hiatal hernia thing. So I went back to those x-rays, and on both of the x-rays it showed that spot, and even the radiologist had noted that there was no change in either one of those x-rays, and it was the same size and everything as it was when they took the x-ray, during my test. So that's one of those major God moments. There's a reason for everything, that you don't know what it is at the time. So at this point, I got cleared for the transplant, so that was a go from our side, but there was a problem on the other side, and we didn't know what it was. So finally the end of November came, or the end of October came, and he said, everything's good. It's all gonna fly. So on November 7th, I went to Cleveland Clinic and donated my kidney to this man, and she was at Akron City, and she received a kidney from this lady.
And all 4 surgeries were done at the same time. So the family was split up. David went with Gary and met his parents up at the Cleveland Clinic. Jessica and Nikki took me to Akron City with my mom and my family, and was at Akron City. And they were going to do the 4 because this was a big thing, because it was never done before in the country.
All 4 surgeries had to be done at the same time. So they're on the phone back and forth talking with each other.
The doctors were.
So nobody could back out, so everything had to be done, and they're on the phone with each other. I mean, the whole thing was really kind of amazing. All 4 of us were like a brother and sister match. So that part has worked out well.
And that in itself is amazing, because for her to be as close as a match as her own sister giving her a kidney, and the same thing with Ron, a brother to a brother. That's how close of a match he was to Ron.
Kathy is the donor.
She's the one who gave me her kidney.
Okay.
She was in the room next to me.
Okay.
And it's a smaller hospital, and she's thinking to herself, well, who says I can't go over and meet her? So she hobbles over to my room, and she says, I'm Kathy, I'm the one that gave you your kidney. And I started to cry, and I gave her a big old hug, and I said, you're my angel. And we just cried and cried. And then Kathy's brother came into the room, and met the family, and we got to talking, and he said something about living in Manchester, or living on Manchester Road, and I said, whereabouts? And he says, well, I live da-da-da-da-da, and I said, well, then you must know, John Gross. And he says, he's my neighbor. And I said, you're kidding me. And
in the meantime, Ron's niece comes
into my room, and I said, Stephanie, what are you doing here? And she says, my aunt just gave you your kidney. And I said, you're kidding me. And this is the same girl that I worked with at the Outback for years. And when she was a server and a bartender, I remember her coming into me when I was on dialysis and asking me about dialysis, because her aunt was searching high and low for answers about dialysis and everything, and she wanted to know as much as she could, so she's asking me about what I knew. And little did I know it was the same people that was going to give me my kidney, 3 years later.
I got tired of waiting on Cleveland Clinic to let me out, so I just kind of walked out on my own. And
2 days later.
I asked him, because I knew his name. I said, where's Ron Lazar's room? And he told me what room it is. So David and I walked down there, and I walked in, and he's laying in bed, and I said, hey, Ron, I'm Gary. He said, hi, Gary, thanks. I said, I'll talk to you later, and I left. But as it turns out, Ron and Kathleen Lazar, we have become such great friends. We call them our swap partners. Back to the problem, I wanted to explain about the problem that they had, Ron and Kathy had in October. Kathy's blood type is O. Ron was AB. All right. Well, normally Kathy would be able to give to Ron. All right. AB's universal donor, but they didn't match. But your antigens can change. What had happened at that time was Kathy would have been able to give Ron her kidney. All right. And what they said was, we can't do that to these people. We've come this far.
They didn't know us, but they just couldn't.
But they couldn't disappoint us that way. For somebody to think like that, that just still amazes me.
Compassion on some strangers.
Have patience. All right, that's one of the hardest things for people to do is have patience and learn and just trust in God. Mm-hmm. Trust that He knows what He's doing. He's got a path for you to take. It doesn't always seem like there's a reason or why it's happening. People say, why does this happen? Why does that happen? Who knows? God knows, and He's got a plan for it. And He'll make it happen. If you trust in Him and let Him go with it, He makes it happen.